Ever look up at the night sky and just think, whoa, that moon looks massive tonight?
Yeah, it's like someone supersized it, right?
Literally. Well, get this. This week, that effect, it's going to be even more intense because we've got the hunter's supermoon rising. And we're diving deep into why this full moon is so special. So get ready because you won't want to miss this.
And what's even cooler, this isn't just any supermoon.
Oh.
This one's going to be the biggest and brightest of the whole year.
No way. All right, so before we go any further, for those who need a little refresher, what exactly is a supermoon? What makes it so super?
So it's all about the moon's orbit, right? And the moon, it doesn't just travel around the Earth in a perfect circle.
It doesn't.
Nope, it's more like an oval, like an ellipse. So sometimes it's closer to us, which is called perigee, and sometimes it's further away, which is called apogee. And when a full moon happens to be at the same time that it's at perigee, boom, you get a supermoon.
So that's what's happening this week, this Wednesday, October 16th.
You got it.
Yeah.
And get this, the full moon and the perigee, they're like basically lining up perfectly.
Seriously.
Yeah, so that means the moon's going to seem like 14% bigger.
Wow.
And brighter than your average full moon.
That's a pretty big difference. Okay, so we've got this super-sized, super bright moon, but why do they call it the hunter's moon?
Ah, that name. It takes us back in time a little bit. You see, Native Americans, they were like really good sky watchers. They paid attention to the details, and they had special names for all the different full moons throughout the year.
That's so cool.
I know, right? And the October full moon, it got the name hunter's moon for a very practical reason. It was like the perfect time to hunt.
Because all the animals are out getting ready for winter.
Yeah, exactly. Leaves are falling, the land's all clear, and the animals, they're at their, well, plumpest, let's say.
Makes sense.
So they were easier to spot, which is important. But what's even more important is that this meant a really good, reliable source of food to get them through the colder months.
Ah, so that brighter moonlight from the hunter's moon would have been a huge help for those hunters.
You got it. It's not just about spotting the animals. It's about making sure that hunt was successful so they could actually survive.
Right, because a successful hunt back then, it wasn't just about dinner that night.
No way.
It was about having enough to preserve meat for the winter, maybe making warm clothes from the hides.
Absolutely. This one celestial event, it impacted their whole way of life.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It really is how connected they were to like the rhythms of nature and these celestial events.
Totally. And, speaking of nature, we can't forget about another big impact the moon has on us, on Earth. The tides.
Oh, right. That's right, because the supermoon's going to be closer.
Closer.
Which means stronger gravity, right? Pulling on us a little harder.
Exactly. So think about it. We're talking like unusually high tides.
Oh, wow.
And low tides, even more extreme than usual. And here's the thing. Those peak tides, they might not actually happen at the exact same time as the full moon.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Sometimes, it depends on where you are in the world. You might see them a day or two later.
Oh, interesting. So it's like the moon's influence is still, building even after it's full. So if someone wanted to, go out and see these super tides, the most impressive ones caused by the supermoon, they'd have to actually look up when it's happening in their spot.
100%, yeah. You gotta do your research. Because coastlines, they're all shaped so differently.
Yeah.
And that really affects how the tides behave. So, for example, you've got places like the Bay of Fundy.
Oh, yeah.
Which is it's got that funnel-like shape.
Right.
They're famous for having crazy tides.
Huge.
Yeah, and during a supermoon, forget about it. They're massive.
Wild. I mean, it's just crazy to think that something happening hundreds of thousands of miles away can have, a real tangible effect down here.
I know, right?
Speaking of tangible effects, we've talked about how much bigger and brighter this hunter supermoon is going to look. But isn't there also something about how our brains, see it, especially when it's low on the horizon?
You're talking about the moon illusion.
Yeah. Yeah. It always looks humongous to me when it's, rising or setting.
Right.
Way bigger than when it's high in the sky.
Oh, you're not imagining it. It's real. It's this trick that our brains play on us.
No way.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually. So when the moon's near the horizon, our brains, they automatically compare its size to all the stuff we see in front of it.
Like trees and buildings, stuff like that?
Exactly, yeah. And so that comparison, it makes the moon look way bigger than when it's surrounded by just, the vastness of space.
Huh. So it's like our brains can't, reconcile the size of the moon with the stuff in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, when you see an airplane flying way up high.
Yeah, it looks tiny.
Exactly.
Right.
But then as it gets closer to the ground, right, and you can actually see it next to buildings and cars.
It seems huge.
Right. But it's not actually any bigger, you know.
That's a good analogy. It's like our brain is playing tricks on us, you know?
Totally. But that's what makes it so cool.
Right. Like it's even more special because our brains are going, whoa, look at that.
Exactly. Like knowing the science behind it doesn't make it any less amazing to see.
No, not at all. It's still like, wow. Okay, so for those of us who want to like really experience this hunter's supermoon, moon illusion and all, when should we be looking up?
Well, moonrise and moonset, those are going to be like your prime viewing times.
Okay.
That really dramatic effect.
Right, because it's like closer to the horizon and everything.
Exactly.
So we got to consult our local, lunar forecast? Is that a thing?
Basically. The good news is we can totally figure that out.
Okay.
Websites like the U.S. Naval Observatory, they can tell you exactly when moonrise and moonset is going to be.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, right down to the minute.
Perfect. I'm already picturing it like this giant glowing orb coming up over the tree.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
I know. And everything's kind of bathed in that moonlight.
Yeah, it's magical. I think it's like those moments, you know, they really remind us of like the beauty of the universe and everything.
Really.
Like we can understand all the science behind it, we can predict it, but there's still something amazing about actually seeing it happen.
It's true. It makes you realize like we're all just here on this planet spinning around
I know.
through space and we get to see these amazing things.
It's like a giant spaceship.
It really is.
And sometimes space just puts on a really incredible show for us.
It does. It does. Well, hey, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
My pleasure.
We hope you learned something new about the hunter's supermoon and that you'll all get a chance to actually step outside this week and check it out for yourselves.
Yeah, get out there.
Happy stargazing, everyone.